Welcome to the Working Tools Podcast. Today's episode is a bit different. Often, after recording a show, we continue to chat and have some interesting dialogue and discussions that arise. Originally, that was the true theme of the show, a casual conversation about Freemasonry. The Masons will understand it when I say, it's the meeting after the meeting. So in that light, we hope you enjoy this episode of the Working Tools Podcast, where we ramble on about aprons, discussion questions, ritual versus constitution, and what are the secrets of a Mason? Ladies and gentlemen, brethren all, welcome to the Working Tools Podcast, a casual conversation around Freemasonry. First, it's important to note that our thoughts and opinions are our own and do not reflect those of our Grand Lodge or respective craft or concordant bodies. Please connect with us and ask questions via our website at theworkingtoolspodcast.com.
Yeah, so that's our past master.
There's our past master. That's our past district deputy's apron.
That is?
That is.
Yeah.
And then that, that's our district deputy's jewel. Jewel is just the, if you look actually, I don't know if I can go back.
With the circle, is that significant?
Yeah.
Or is it just?
Well, all our past Grand Lodges have their jewel in. I don't know why I think you guys can see me pointing at my screen and going like all of our past Grand Lodge aprons look like this, only inside the circle is their different badges or jewels. So let's stop share. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can go back one. So like this is, if I share this, you can see that this one's even better. Doop, boop, ba-doop, boo. Share. So like this is that's the past Grand Stewart's apron. And then you can see down here all of the different jewels for, like that's a deacon. That's, I don't know, Orpheus. So
that's pretty cool. So just the circle means past, basically?
Well, it's the badge is just in a circle on the apron.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's significant about the deputies? Why does the deputy only get a square? Because I guess your past master, though, is the Pythagorean theory hanging off of the square, right?
Well, that's Craft Lodge, yeah. Past master, yeah.
The deputy doesn't get the Pythagorean theory anymore?
No. he's much better than Grand Lodge jewels. Hold on a second. Breast jewels. I'll show you a BC past district deputies breast jewel. Well, that's the past district deputy for the Grand Lodge of British Columbia's breast jewel.
Cool. We don't even do those.
Oh, we love our breast jewels up here. More the merrier.
Do they wear those in addition to the apron?
Yes, unfortunately. Because, you can't tell that they're a past district deputy just by looking at their apron.
You can if you've been educated properly.
I could see wearing it if you're wearing something else, like a white apron or an officer apron or something.
We don't have white aprons or officer aprons.
You know white aprons?
Well, we do, but you never wear it after you're raised to the third degree.
Well, you're a visitor. If you don't have an apron,
you bring your own apron.
Well, if you didn't have it,
then you would be given a Master Mason's apron from the stock,
which is not a white apron.
No. Oh, hold on. I will show you. I like doing this. This is fun. Lodge.
Apparently, we need to have a show on aprons.
That would actually not be.
We did for a while ago, didn't we? I think
so.
that was one of the first ones I did.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
But so by way of stories, our lodge always had their plate, pretend leather aprons with blue trim around them for visitors to use. So, and that's what I used to use when I showed up to lodge when I was first a Master Mason. And so I went to visit another lodge in the district, and they had aprons there, so I grabbed one and put it on, and it looked like the ones that I had at my lodge. It had blue trim. It was the first time I'd ever visited another lodge there. I just threw one on. And about halfway through the meeting, the guy sitting next to me leans over, and I was, 30, 31. And the guy leans over and says, "Wow, you're a past master already?" And I'm like, no, I'm just this is like my first time I ever visited another lodge. But apparently they had blue past master aprons and white non-past master aprons, and I grabbed the wrong one, and I was scolded because, heaven forfend.
This is a Master Mason's apron in our jurisdiction.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh, cool.
So that's what, if you were, oh no.
I would just
I said,
find something
cool.
else.
Oh,
More symbols.
so I was
So I know you have these rosettes all the time. What does the rosette actually mean?
it's just decoration.
There can't be. It's got to be a meaning, Jarrod.
I don't know. There's nothing in our ritual about the rosettes. I know that these metal bobbly thingies are supposed to represent the tassels on the tie that we don't have anymore, because ours are all attached by hooks like this in the back or at the side. But yeah, so if someone were to show up and we knew that they were a Master Mason but they didn't have an apron, we would just go into the back and pull out one of these for them.
Huh.
Yeah, unless you're either an entered apprentice or a fellowcraft, you don't wear your white leather apron ever again.
But it's yours to live upon.
Oh, I know. I don't have one. They took my white one away when they put my Master Mason apron on.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, it was always confusing.
They take. There's some lodges that take them away at apprentice. They give it to you and then they take it away.
Yeah, they give it to you. That even worse. I've never been given a new apron. When I became a Master Mason, my dad put his old Master Mason apron on because he wasn't using it anymore. And then when I was installed as Master of Headley Lodge, our current district deputy Grand Master wasn't using his past master's apron anymore, so he put it on me. So
it's not that they weren't using it anymore; is that they wanted to hand down to you the tradition.
No, he literally said to me he wasn't using it anymore.
I'm not using this thing anymore.
You're the middle child.
I am a middle child.
I got to get this thing out of my closet, or my wife's going to yell at me again.
At that point he had his past master's apron. He was past Grand Steward, and then he was currently at that point sitting as the district deputy past Grand Master. So he just had a few too many aprons in his case. And
one of the things that we're doing for our lodge leadership retreat this year is to have a series of hopefully thought-provoking questions to give to the members, to the attendees, so they can have things to talk about while they're off hours. Of course, we hope they talk about our classes too, but also hear some extra topics or extra things that we might discuss. And one of them was that why, at least in the United States and in Washington specifically, why is there such a bent on a specific religion when we say that Masonry is not religious?
Why is there such a what?
Why is it so Christian?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Jarrod.
It's one of my biggest pet peeves up here. And actually, it's interesting because if I remember correctly, the Canadian work is significantly more secular than the ancient work. Like in the ancient work, we reference God a lot more than they do in the Canadian work. I think I'd have to go back over my Canadian work. So I agree. It is interesting that, why are we so focused on one set of beliefs when we're not supposed to be?
That was one of the topics. And then the other one was, what about a guy? Have we talked about this off the show? What if a guy comes to us and he's only got 3 fingers, and he maybe could give the grip? But what's that? Total? Sure.
What the fuck happened to him?
On his forehead. He's a carpenter.
He's a carpenter. He's like, dude,
right. So, but whatever configuration or whatever mishap, he can't kneel, he can't give the grips, he can't whatever. And so of course, in our jurisdiction, the lodge ultimately is the sole judge, but there is an element in our code that says he must be able to do signs, grips, and words. There's some basic stuff. Now, the second part of that is, what if he just normal, he gets in, and sometime later, after becoming a Master Mason, he loses that ability to provide the signs and symbols. And what if a guy has a stroke? He can't give the secret word anymore. What if a guy loses his fingers, or his hand? He can't give the secret grip anymore. So it was just an interesting topic.
Well, we say we have to be a man, freeborn, lawful age.
There's one that I have a question about.
Freeborn.
Well, can we? What does it mean to be freeborn?
Born free, not enslaved.
No.
Well,
because slavery is one form of but not being what's the word of not free? Because there's also because there was indentures. But the question is, can you actually be not born free anymore? And should we have that as part of our requirements?
Well,
it used to be the requirements, yet but yes.
Chattel, is that the word? Chattel, is it?
Well, chattel just means that your own. But I mean, it used to be your wife was chattel, so we're not going there. But it's because indenture, you had to be indenture. Like if you were born in indenturehood.
Yeah.
So and does it actually say freeborn in our Constitution?
Man, freeborn of lawful age and coming well recommended. Yep, it does in the ancient work. Yep.
But that's the ritual, not the Constitution.
Well, the ritual is the Constitution, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, so that's always been one that was a question. It's should we be actually using that,
or should we be asking it anymore? Well, I guess it's now a given, but why change the ritual this late in the game?
Some people could find it insulting.
Yeah, I suppose in a reverse politically correct,
but not a
situation.
Reverse politically correct. Because if you think about it, it's how the best way to phrase this? It could be viewed as a holdover of slavery. And that we may want to revisit our ritual to remove aspects that are no longer pertinent to us now.
I believe that we should not update the ritual at all and should keep the previous language the way it was.
There's a podcast about that. As a matter of fact, there's actually another podcast. I've been burning through the Short Talk bulletins just on a loop, it seems. And there was one I recently listened to. It talked about not changing. I almost sent it to you, Matt. It talked about, what are we going to change the term from Worshipful Master to President, and from Grandmaster to Most Important Guy, and it was kind of tongue in cheek, but it was an interesting article about it. Keeping the ancient, or keeping the way things are. Traditions. I think it was talking about traditions.
I've wondered more than once about. So we have the ritual, and we have the code, right? The Washington Masonic Code. Is one superior to the other? Is there in the code? It says the qualifications are: you have to be 18, you have to have the senses of a man, especially hearing, seeing, and feeling, be a believer in a supreme being, be capable of reading and writing, and possess no disability in his body that would render him incapable of conforming reasonably to what the degrees require of him. Okay, it doesn't say anything in there about being freeborn or being well recommended or whatever.
But it does say that the standard work is the only work, and you'll do no other.
Well, do we follow everything the standard work says?
You're supposed to.
If I just divulged the secrets of Masonry to two guys who I've never met and whose dues cards I've never checked, should somebody come in here and slit my throat from ear to ear?
Maybe.
No, but we'll do it for you.
Fuzzy.
Well, and there's another topic: is how seriously do we take the secrets of Freemasonry?
Oh, we can't talk about that.
How serious do we take our obligations?
Yeah.
We can't talk about that.
Well, no, I know, because here's the thing. I know a brother who his wife knows our ritual just as well as he does, because that's who he practices with. And he told me that one day, and I think I had to pick my jaw up off the floor because I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
No, I've heard that several times.
Hmm?
I've heard it several times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, should those brothers be kicked out because they've broken their oath?
Right?
That was actually one of the first questions I think it was probably the second question I was asked as deputy. Was you get a copy of the clear text, so it's instead of being ciphered, you get the whole ritual written out in normal plain English. As deputy, and I guess the elected Grand Lodge officers get it in the Grand Lecturer. Anyway, the point is there's 35 copies of this floating around. One of the first questions I got as deputy was, can you photocopy that and give it to me? No, I cannot.
Wait, ours isn't ciphered.
Yeah.
My ritual book is word for, well, no, there's a few words in there that are ciphered, but although the Canadian ritual I have is somewhat ciphered, but the ritual book I was given when I became a Master Mason is pretty much all there.
Wow.
Yeah, mine too. Yep.
It drives me nuts.
There's only a few words. Some of the really important words are ciphered out, but for the most part,
the only thing that's ciphered out are the penalties to our obligations.
Yeah.
I always ask the candidate or the person I'm coaching, what's the purpose of this cipher? What's the purpose of this book? It's to learn the standard work, to learn your ritual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be easier if it wasn't in this weird language?
Well, because
here comes the deputy.
Wouldn't the whole ritual be easier to learn if it were not in this weird language?
What weird language? It's in English.
I mean, in cipher.
I know.
There is a movement, Matt. If you know, I've heard it now. There is a movement to make the cipher more standard. It's going to be a resolution.
Oh yes, because like whatever the same word is abbreviated different ways at different places in the cipher.
Yeah, and to make the cipher a little bit more non-ciphered, a little bit more readable.
Well, the thing is, like, I can go online right now, and I can order like almost all the rituals that we do here in BC, like just by going online and ordering them.
Yep.
Maybe not the ancient. I don't know, but I can get because I've always wanted to know what the what's the other one they have? Emulation. I've always wanted to read the emulation ritual to see how it differs, and I can order an ebook version of it.
There's a state back east. I want to say it's Rhode Island, where years and years and years ago, during the Morgan Affair thing, the 1820s, the state passed a law that the ritual had to be available for people to inspect if they wanted to. So there's actually a clear text version of their ritual in their Grand Lodge office that if you were to walk in off the street and say, I demand to see your ritual, they would have to produce it and let you read it if you wanted to.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
I'd make them learn the cipher. You want to figure it out? Here you go. Make them work for it. Why not? Right?
I know.
All right.
Our two past grand secretaries ago asked me that question about, what's the purpose of the ritual? And he said, why don't we should just have a resolution to make it all clear text. And I thought, there was one a few years ago. 6 or 7 years, I've thought that's a resolution to make it clear. No, it was to give the secretaries a copy.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Yeah.
We finally got, it took, 3 or 4 years, Matt, to get the PDF to be allowed. We now have a PDF version of the cipher. So we're baby steps, boys, baby steps. We hope you enjoyed that episode and will continue to listen in to future shows. If you like what we're doing, you can support the channel by sponsoring us over on Anchor. There's a link in the show notes. And most importantly, if you have questions or comments, Please be sure to post them on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook page, and links to those pages are also in the show notes. As always, thanks for joining us on the Working Tools Podcast.